Vladimir Guerrero Jr. put forth a tremendous showing against the New York Yankees in the first game of their series, which took place in late September. In this video, we'll tell you all about it and where the Toronto Blue Jays ended up in the postseason as a result. Be sure to stick around to the end. Let's get started. How did the start of the series against the Yankees go? It was just a couple of months ago when Vladimir Guerrero Jr. managed to get a walk-off against the Red Sox at the Rogers Center and was seen stomping around the turf like he owned the place, going as far as to point to the ground and bellow that this was now the house of Toronto Blue Jays. And now he's achieved a similar feat on what is actually the Blue Jays' home turf, and he's prepared this time to take sole ownership. In their home game against the New York Yankees, Guerrero Jr. delivered a line drive to left field when the chips were down at the bottom of the 10th, which resulted to a walked-off single, beating the Yankees with a final score of 3-2. It was unquestionably the biggest win of the season at that point for the Blue Jays. Whilst Vladimir Guerrero Jr. was rounding the bases, his arms stretched out as far as they could go, and he was met by all his teammates when he made it back to the mound. They swarmed in on him in a raucous celebration, and he was probably pretty sticky by the end of the night because they took to the long-standing sports tradition of showering him with whatever beverage they had handy. And as he made his way out of the horde of shouting baseball players, he let the world know one thing, this time making the shout much more pointed. This was his house. These are the kinds of moments fans have been waiting to see from Guerrero for a long time now. Those who followed him closely were begging to see the superstar of 2021 re-emerge in time to help lift the Blue Jays up towards postseason success. He's been ever so close, constantly on the verge of that greatness throughout the season. But when his first was one of the greatest seasons in franchise history, the 2022 campaign had been leaving many waning up to this point. But moments like this will make it all disappear. That win did a lot for the Blue Jays, extending their lead in the American League wildcard race to 2.5 wins over the Rays and 3 over the Mariners, neither of whom were playing on that particular Monday. The magic number for Toronto is now down to 3, and as such, the Blue Jays have a luxury that few can afford: complete control over their postseason destiny, with a chance at clinching their spot in home games against the Yankees or Red Sox. Why is it so significant to be able to get those home games in the postseason? Guerrero Jr.'s walk-off against the Yankees should just go to show why they'd want to clinch that thing at Rogers Center, so they can go on to kick off the wildcard series in their own backyard in downtown Toronto. Interim manager John Sheeter commented on the overwhelming support from the audience, saying that you have to enjoy it and you really have to embrace it. He said to respect the fact that you're here and to enjoy what the fans are giving you, but at the same time, he espouses discipline and sticking with what your approach is, taking care of the ball and making big pitches, the kind of normal advice you'd expect from a coaching figure. He ended by saying, quote, "Those guys have earned the right to have this atmosphere and to have every pitch be very, very important," end quote. In 2015 and 2016, when the Blue Jays made their long-awaited return to the postseason for the first time since their legendary back-to-back World Series wins in the early 90s, the people saw what this city, and in many ways, the country, can become. Guerrero himself has talked about how he heard from 2 former players and Dominican stars from that era, Jose Bautista and Edwin Encarnacion, who both told him they hadn't truly seen Toronto yet, not until he saw it in the postseason. The same thing happened when the Raptors made their run for the NBA championship in 2019. The city becomes a major destination for rabid sports fans. The city just orbits around in as the national pride takes hold. Believe it or not, Guerrero isn't taking things too severely, despite the grandeur of it all. He explained his success by claiming that the team is simply not afraid to fail. He said, quote, "We're having fun right now. We're thinking about trying to win that game and having fun," end quote. It does tend to work out that way sometimes, doesn't it? When you stress and agonize over every little thing, it often does hinder your performance. Taking things as they come and just living in the moment and enjoying it is often the secret to success, at least once you've nailed down the basics of how things work. What about the other members of the team? Regardless of his mindset, there's no question that Guerrero is standing atop an inspiring effort from the bullpen of the Blue Jays, and the torch was passed along from Kevin Gausman after 6 1/3 innings of a strong and solid showing. Going into the game, Aaron Judge was the big headline grabber and attention seeker as he was trying to chase down Roger Maris's long-standing single-season home run record against them. Though he did tie the record against them in their next game 2 days later, the record wasn't broken against the Blue Jays. That came at the expense of the Texan Rangers instead. And in the game this video is dedicated to, the Blue Jays managed to hold him to a single and just 2 walks, which is quite impressive against such a heavy hitter. It's fair to say that it is something of a feat just surviving out there against Judge. Gausman called it a big win against a good team and noted that this was obviously a huge series for them. He said that they're chasing something and are all well aware that they needed to win one more before they could really celebrate. Ideally, he would have liked to take all three against them, of course. That much probably went without saying, but this win was a major one, no doubt about that. Gausman did allow 2 runs in as many innings, but was able to adjust and take it to another level soon after and showcase some truly extraordinary talent, with great timing as well, coming off 2 rough starts earlier in the month. Meanwhile, outfielder Teoscar Hernandez was able to extend a hot streak of his own, pulling the Blue Jays to an even score with a double with the bases loaded. He was mere inches away, just painfully close to pulling off a grand slam, and he loved every little moment of watching that ball soar. But alas, it ended up falling just shy, right over the outstretched glove of one Harrison Bader. That kind of tension and drama is what you can expect to kick up to another level of intensity throughout October. Just how did the regular season end then? We mentioned earlier that Gausman wanted to win all 3 straight against the Yankees. Naturally, that unfortunately didn't happen, but they would go on to finish the season strong, winning 5 of their last 6 regular season outings. As a result, they did indeed conclude the regular season as the wildcard team with the most wins and managed to earn themselves home field advantage against the Mariners for the postseason opening series. Where the chips will fall from here, that's hard to say. The series is still early yet, as of the time of this writing, but one thing's for sure, it'll fall on the shoulders of Vladimir Guerrero Jr. to send the Blue Jays to their ultimate destiny. He said himself that the past week had already been playoff games for the team, showing how significant each win at that point of the season was. He stated that it taught them that they have to prepare themselves for those moments if they got there in a week or 2 so that they could be ready. He'll have plenty more chances to play the hero and make the declaration going forward. So let's see if he's got any more such moments in him this season. The spotlight will be squarely on him in many more games to come. But will it happen when it matters most? We'll have to wait and see. But for now, we can be assured that it's his house. And that's all the time we have for today. At the time of writing, the Toronto Blue Jays are in a tough spot, down 0-2 to the Mariners in their wild card opener series, with the second game being a heartbreaking come-from-behind loss. Do you think they can pull through and manage to survive? If so, will it be due to more late-game heroics from Vladimir Guerrero Jr., or will someone else emerge as the team's key to success? Be sure to let us know your thoughts down in the comments below. And until next time, thanks for watching.